What?
She said you did.
Good morning, everybody. Let's get started with the Safety Committee meeting. Welcome to members of the public. Can we play the safety announcement first, please?
Your safety is of the foremost importance to the MTA. Therefore, we ask that you listen and adhere to the following instructions. If you witness an emergency, notify emergency personnel in the room and call 911 immediately. Please follow any audible instructions provided through the public address system or visually on screens in the event of an emergency. If an alarm sounds, wait for a public address announcement and follow instructions. If told to go to another floor or to evacuate the building, leave all unessential items behind and use stairwell A just across the main hallway or stairwell B down the hallway past the elevators. If you have a mobility disability or cannot self-evacuate, please proceed to stairwell D or E for assistance by MTA staff or emergency personnel. An automated external defibrillator, AED, for use by trained personnel is in the main hallway just past the elevators. If you need assistance during an evacuation, please tell an MTA staff member or emergency personnel. Thank you and have a safe day.
Thank you. Before we hear from public comment, I just want to recognize a couple things. One is we're joined by Mr. Herbst and Mr. Gorodnik. I think their first rodeo with the board meeting, so welcome, as well as other board members, and also welcome back former Chair and CEO Tom Prendergast, who's a longtime safety expert and is here talking about some of the work he's been doing with the MTA. So welcome to you as well. Okay, with that, Mr. Diodato, may we hear from our friends in the public?
Yes, thank you, Chair Lieber, and good morning. We have 8 members of the public registered to speak today. As a reminder, we ask that all public speakers adhere to MTA's rules of conduct and decorum. Also, in the interest of time and fairness to all speakers, we limit everyone to 2 minutes. Please be aware that there will be a warning beep to remind you that you have 30 seconds to conclude your remarks. Our first speaker will be James Anthony, followed by Jesse Figueroa.
That would be Jason Anthony.
Good morning, Jano. Good morning, board members, and welcome back to our beloved Tom Prendergast. Jason Anthony, member of the Long Island Railroad 88 Task Force. Let's start with a incident that yours truly witnessed right before he went to spring recess along the flushing line between Hunters Point Avenue and Court Square. It was a group of teenagers that were unfortunately subway surfing on top of the 7 train. We know that this is a long-time trend that's been going on that line, but we should prevent this from happening. And what is that we have to do? We have to put fencing along the Hunters Point portal and the R Street shop facility to prevent this from happening, because these teenagers are using this as a point of entry to get on top of the train to do their travesty. And the other point of entry, as we all know, is the Williamsburg Bridge. And this, folks, we have to get a partnership with Giannis Rodriguez from the DOT to put a complete fence along the Williamsburg Bridge. Because incidents like this, folks, is way too common, and this is the first time that I see teenagers subway surfing with my own eyes.
Please conclude your remarks.
So I hope that we do something soon, and That's all I have to say for this month.
Our next speaker is Jesse Figueroa, followed by Maddie Butchis Highland.
Ready? Good. Oh, y'all ready? Good morning, everybody. Jesse Figueroa here. Happy Passover and Mazel Tov to you. I'm here to talk about what's going on. I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I am a member of the Long Island Railroad Accessibility Task Force. I'm just here to say thank you to the NYPD and MTA Police for combating on subway surfing and fare evasion. So the only thing I'm here to talk about is my home station on 4th Avenue in Brooklyn, 86th Street. I am asking that there'll be more safety put in place as the homelessness continues to go on, and I've seen couples camp out at the platform during the nighttime hours and other things that need to be improved on. Thanks.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Maddie Butchis Highland, followed by Charlton D'Souza.
Good morning, Chairman. I'm Maddie W. Bucky's Highland. Happy Autism Awareness Month, everybody. For today's topic, I'm going to speak about safety. First of all, I'd like to applaud the MTA for doing a good job of safety. This committee should meet every month rather than meeting in February, April, July, and November. Second of all, we have to make sure that safety is a top concern. Folks, Folks, we're here to ride the subway. We're not here to watch the Jerry Springer show in the audience. But we have to keep safety at top of mind as always. Hold on. See this book? It's called A Criminal Justice Today book, which was written in 2007. I took back in high school. We have to be aware of that safety is an important mind so that people can trust the system. We need stricter laws and tougher bail measures, though, for that, because we need to keep our subways safe and our transit safe so people could rely on it. Thank you, and God bless each and every one of you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Charlton D'Souza, followed by Christopher Greif.
Good morning. My name is Charlton D'Souza. I'm the president of Passengers United. So on Saturday into Sunday morning, I rode the subway trains for several hours till about 4 o'clock in the morning. And what did I see at subway stations? I saw at the 50th Street subway station on the C train and E train, on the E lower level platform, I saw 7 individuals shooting up needles, using heroin right out in the open. Yep, that's what I saw. 7th Avenue, I saw the same thing. I was on subway cars where the police came in, and guess what? They did not wake people up, stretched out, lying across the benches. This is not acceptable for people who have to ride the subway. And we just had a big meeting with Chief Kemper about a month ago. Nothing has changed. It's gotten worse. How is that? So you guys keep telling the media the subways are safe. The subways are safe. They're not safe. You can compare your crime statistics all you want, but the conditions that people are seeing in subway stations are out of control. And I spoke to many police officers, and I asked them, how come nobody's engaging these individuals? One of the things that the police officers are scared is that they're going to get attacked or they're going to get pricked with a needle by these people. So you need teams of National Guard people, National Guard members, security, police, going down there, pulling these people out, even if they have the emergency responders have to have straitjackets on, send them down there and kick these people out. They do not belong at the edges of platforms. That is a danger. That is a safety hazard. Because when these people start using drugs, they start committing suicide and they get on the tracks, and that delays service. So how do you guys expect congestion pricing to succeed? And no one's going to ride the subway. This is not right to us, guys. This is really bad. You need to do your job.
Conclude your remarks. Thank you. Our next speaker is Christopher Greif, followed by Alita Dupree.
Good morning, everyone. Christopher D. Grive. Hope everyone's doing well. I want to thank the NYPD MTA police because the last days I have seen is our officers been catching people sneaking into subways, especially when my mother's trying to get on the train who does pay the fare. We want to thank them because we are getting rid of fare invasions. They need to remember that paying the fare is important to keep the trains running, the buses moving, and the railroads. One thing I hope we can work together is, since we have community councils at local precincts, we need to hope in the future that we can have precinct councils at transit precinct areas so we can work together to keep our subways safe, like to build elevators and ramps and a lot of things. But I do want to welcome our legendary, a lot of famous people are here today. I want to say thank you because we did start a lot of accessibility in the past and safety. And we want to continue doing that. Because you know what, the warm weathers are coming up, beaches are coming up. We want to get on a train safe, which they are safe. We have cameras on the train, we see. Not all, but there are some. But it does help. If we see something, we're supposed to say something. We just need to work together with our officers, our elected officials, and our local community. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Alita Dupree, followed by Maury Bowden.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Jano Lieber and members. Alita Dupree, for the record, she and her with Team Folds can talk about safety. I looked over the reports, safety reports, they're looking good. I think we are working hard to build a safer system, and especially with employee injuries and a lot of other metrics, reducing slip and falls, things like that. But as I think about safety, this has been on my mind. I would like to see a culture of safety, in my estimation, that emphasizes inclusion most of all. Because there are cultures involved in safety-related communities. And I hate to say it, but sometimes I think people in safety and enforcement don't know what to do with people like me. They're skittish around people like me because I'm different and I wear a skirt. And I see the soldiers, and I mean, I was a soldier once. I was in the Army, and I have the utmost respect for our soldiers, and I haven't gotten to talk to them. But you know, when you're 17, 18, 19 years old, and you come from a small town, you end up in basic training. Now you find yourself in New York. You grow up really fast. How do we show people from other states who come here how we do things here in New York? It's culture shock. I saw that when I was in basic training, about 40 states represented in my basic training platoon. So really what I would like to see from safety is a safety department that will know what to do with me by including me. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mary Bowden, followed by Joseph Morlis.
The Federal Highway Administration in December released the 2023 Manual Uniform Traffic Control Devices. And he said that we understand one size doesn't fit all. When you go out there and you see something and it's not right, document it, fix it, and you don't need my permission anymore. 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, I'm going with the team from the Westchester County, I don't know, they're going to take me around to look at the roads and how to make them safer at less cost. People today don't pay attention. There's an assumption by the people who wrote that book that said, well, we'll make the line wider because they'll recognize that it's for emphasis. You all sat there at a traffic light when it turned green and nobody moved. Well, when they start to move and they look up, they're not going to notice the width of the line. So to use a line that's wider for emphasis doesn't work today. I don't know if any of you have a Princess phone at home with the push buttons or even a dial phone. They were very important at the time. But the rules changed. The world changed. The rules that were written 30 years ago, 20 years ago, don't work today. Unless you're prepared to change and do what's appropriate in today's world, time to retire and get out of here and let my grandchildren's generation take over. There's a few of us my age that are still out here working to get it right. It's not easy. Thank you for being here, for letting me be here.
Thank you. That concludes our public speaking session for today. Yes, Joseph Marlis is our last speaker for the day.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Joseph Morales. I attend Bronx Engineering and Technology Academy in Marble Hill. I read the safety book, and the MTA has a significant list of possible mechanisms in order to continue our downward trends in crime. I noticed that these included de-escalation training for employees and tracking worker assault cases with DA offices. And these are all great things. However, I feel like there needs to be more done beyond reducing index crime in order to increase the sense of safety and community on our subways. The MTA has had several effective crackdowns on crime in the last 2 years, and the NYPD has been an excellent partner in these crackdowns. However, subway crime is often seen as separate from the other issues that occur above ground in our local streets. For instance, I've always seen more individuals who suffer from mental illness at the 125th Street 456 station than at any other station. And one day I had my student Metro card in my pocket and I planned to swipe it in, but I saw one of these individuals just hovering over the turnstile, and as a result, I wasn't gonna take out my wallet. I just tapped, paid $2.90 with Omni that day. And why does this happen at 125th and not other stations? At one point, I saw we had the monthly pulse survey here, and all East Harlem stations ranked the worst in practically all the safety metrics. Why in that neighborhood are there any organizations we could partner with to improve the conditions there, above ground, and hence below ground in our subway system? The subway system in New York is truly an extension of the street system, and the issues that occur there often do not originate or stop there. Also, I feel like NYPD Transit, we should have a bureau similar to how the NYPD does school safety. I feel like where we have a couple of the same officers in our subway stations every day, they'll know the individuals that regularly pass through, who need certain supports, and really be able to, they'll get to know certain passengers regularly, and that'll create a sense of security similar to what we have in our schools. And a lot of parents, students, teachers use the subway to get to school every day. Therefore, our subway should be treated with the same sense of care and sensitivity. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That concludes our speakers for today.
Thank you. And thank you to Mr. Morales, who I know is a high school student, but always brings a lot of insight to his comments from the podium. So thank you to all our public speakers. Approval of the minutes. We have the minutes from the February meeting were circulated. Any comments or corrections? None from Mr. Albert. I have a motion to approve. Second. Minutes are approved. Mr. Heyman, are there changes to the work plan?
Yes, Chair. There's a change to the work plan. The CCTV program will be briefed at a later time this year.
Okay. And when we have a report on safety and security metrics?
Yes, thank you, Chair, and good morning. Key safety metrics start on page 9 of the committee book, and agency safety and security statistics can be found on pages 9 through 36. Statistics for the authority's safety metrics remain strong, highlighting the attention that each agency places on this topic. Generally, accident and injury rates for both employees and customers are trending down and remain low. Of note, the number of fires in the subway system had a marked reduction last year of 17%, highlighting the success of the Executive Committee on Track Fires, which includes, among other efforts, the aggressive track cleaning performed by the maintenance way cleaning teams. Regarding security, the MTA's focus remains unwavering. We saw a significant downtrend in major crimes beginning in March. April month to date were lower than 2019 in major crimes per rider. This downtrend speaks directly to the collaborative efforts with federal, state, and local partners. We're also encouraged by a long-term downtrend in crime. In 2023, we saw the average number of reported crimes drop below pre-pandemic levels, both on a pure count as well as a per-rider basis. Together with the MTA PD and our partners at NYPD, we are confident we will achieve a similar result this year. Now, unless there's any questions, I'd like to turn it over to
I just want to underscore one thing, which is, and Chief Muller's here because there is, obviously, there are very positive MTA PD stats about commuter rail index crimes. But index crimes, and this is this morning's report, the weekly report. The index crimes on the subway are down. This past week, we're down 33% from the prior week. Year to date, we're down 6.5%. Recall that we had a tough January. The mayor and the NYPD brought a lot of additional personnel into the system, and now we're down for the year 6.5%. And importantly, we are down almost 11% versus pre-COVID, which is, I think, a meaningful benchmark. Now, that doesn't mean that our riders aren't encountering conditions that concern them, and we heard about some of those from the podium just now, but we have to keep pushing to make sure that this overall trend is maintained. And I thank the mayor and the NYPD as well as our own MTA PD for the work that's gone into those results. Back to you, Carl.
Thank you. Is there any questions? I would like to turn it over to Ozzy, the VP of Safety of C&D, for their presentation.
Great. Thank you, Chair, Acting Chief, Board members, and good morning, everyone. I am pleased to present an overview of C&D's new safety management system. This new system is intended to standardize policies, procedures, and enhance our safety culture throughout the program. The safety management system aims to achieve a best-in-class safety program that enhances our current safety practices. The program focuses on the people who work at the sites and manages our programs. It emphasizes a clear understanding of everyone's roles and responsibilities for safety while ensuing a positive change in our safety culture. We are enhancing our program to identify and prevent risk associated with our work from the design phase throughout construction and maintenance. We are streamlining the process by setting a standard for all C&D contracts, creating an overarching program in which contractors and our staff can work efficiently. Our digital transformation involves using data to proactively monitor our safety progress on each contract to identify leading trends and support the mitigation of safety concerns. Enhancing the safety systems for multiple savings across the board, not only to reduce and minimize incidents occurrences, but also adding construction and development's faster, better, and under budget goals. Before I continue, I would like to introduce Tom Prendergast, former chairperson of MTA and part of the team that is helping C&D create this program, and to speak on the following slides.
Not the slide.
There you go. Organizations that are considered best in class or aspiring to be best in class make sure that one of the basic tenets of safety is part of its core values. The achievement of zero incidents, unsafe actions, or accidents is not an easily reached goal. It requires a significant commitment of time and effort on all parts of the organization to get there. So no matter where you are on the scale of evolution to be best in class, it's going to take a high level of effort and commitment of management to be able to get there. Most people shirk away from zero as sustainable because they think it's almost impossible when you compare it against statistics. You must disclose information and make sure that there's a full set of experience in terms of what's occurring on the system. In terms of construction and development, doing work on active railroads, doing work on active bus depots is extremely challenging given the nature of the work. The last item I'd like to talk about on this slide is the responsibilities that C&D is going to pass down appropriately to its contractors and consultants. In order to hold someone accountable for safety, performance standards have to be set so you can evaluate that performance against those standards. They have to be communicated to contractors and consultants and included as contract requirements. It's pretty much a given. Scope, schedule, and budget have been the measures that most entities that are foreseeing and overseeing work being done are the standards. Safety needs to be part of that. And then formal mechanisms need to be put in place so that you can have a dashboard of that performance while the project is going on. A dashboard that tells you where trends are changing, where trends are satisfactory, going up or going down, and management can insist that the contractor or consultant take action. Next slide. Historically, in agencies like the MTA, when you're evaluating different contractors or consultants for competitive work, you look at scope, schedule, and budget on work that was prior performed. If a particular entity, firm, had a very high-level incident, accident, something that was brought notoriety to that firm, that was factored into the equation. But it was not necessarily a standard form. And so what we need to do now is make sure that safety is one of those factors like scope, schedule, and budget. In terms of designing for safety, it's based on MIL standard. I think it's 882C now. It was 882A back in the 70s, but it's 882C now. And the hierarchy is designed to eliminate a standard first. The second is to substitute some material, process, or procedure to avoid the hazard. The third is to have engineering controls in place to make sure that you're protecting the work and the employees as it's going on, and the riding public. The fourth category is a procedural control, and the fifth and the least effective is personal protective equipment. Those are established principles that are used in system safety and have been for the last 30 years. In terms of the other thing I would like to say is that focus on leading indicators. Historically, you looked at the empirical evidence from a particular contractor or consultants in terms of the number of injuries, incidents, accidents they had, and evaluated. But the practice now is to look at leading indicators before they materialize into an incident or a after-the-fact event. You have to track unsafe acts and incidents. Make sure you're monitoring them. If the trend line is going up, insist that the contractor take effective action. And adhere to the basic principles of best-in-class status. This is a whole cultural change within an organization, from the people who manage the projects as well as the people who are affected as they're running the agency.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. To continue on this slide, we show our active construction volume. Given the current process of collecting data and capturing incidences once they have occurred, this process of managing lagging indicators is an incident-based approach. Although we are working with a high volume of active projects, we are trending with low incident rates. The total incident line includes first aids and general notifications that may not be construction-related. This general total includes incidents that also resulted in lost time and recordable incidences, shown on the lower lines. Lost time is defined as a case resulting in days in which an employee would have worked but could not because of a work-related injury or illness. And a recordable incident is an incident that resulted in a fatality, injury, or illness. In 2023, we recorded only 3 serious injuries across our projects. Currently this year, we are trending 0 incident recordables. The incident-based approach has its drawbacks, as these events have already occurred. Managing in this approach can result in increased incident rates, higher premiums, and project delays. Our goal with the new safety management system is to decrease all incidences. To further show, we have been tracking our incident types while enhancing our current programs and using the standard incident types to measure the impacts. In 2023, we were able to reduce the overall incident types in almost all the categories from the previous year. Currently in 2024, although the entire year is not completed, we are still maintaining lower trends due to our observational-based approach, which include announced and unannounced inspections, managed tiered inspections, and increased safety collaboration. Highlighting one of our ADA projects, which is enhancing 8 stations across our network for accessibility, use the same principles in using observational approach inspections, which provided negative and positive observations to mitigate the risk before they occurred. With increased safety presence at all levels at the project team, we were able to decrease the contractor's negative findings and build lessons learned from the other stations' projects to improve their program safety and mitigate the delays. This graph represents inspections we performed during construction on several of our contractors. This approach of negative observations provided insight into the approaches each contractor uses to manage safety. This enhancement in the observational-based approach collectively leading indicators that can be used to mitigate the risk and prevent incidences from potentially occurring. Although this approach, we identify several contractors with a high number of negative observations, C&D leadership, along with the project team, collectively engaged the individual contractors in the main office to discuss their safety concerns and ours, and discuss the contractors' corrective actions in order to address the safety risk across their portfolio. This process has proven to bring attention and collaboration to improve the individual contractor safety within the projects. This enhancement has the potential to further decrease incident rates, project costs, and avoiding project delays. These small steps are preventive incidences from actually happening. Highlighting another observational-based meeting, this project example is one of the many corrective actions one contractor took on their project to improve their numerous negative observations throughout their site. Changing include hiring a new safety director, reducing the number of current active work sites, increasing managerial personnel on the sites, performing housekeeping throughout the project prior to the start of work, and dedicating specific personnel to safety-specific tasks throughout the day. These are just a few of the positive outcomes from the collaboration efforts from these dedicated safety meetings. Our implementation plan is an ongoing phased approach. This consists of training the project teams at all phases. We are currently completing phase 1 and beginning phase 2. Phase 1 included program feedback and conducting outreach to our contractors, our staff, and the new processes of enhancing safety, effectiveness, and efficiency. Our fundamental goal is to ensure everyone understands the commitments to C&D's safety management system. Phase 2 will address the additional enhancements and new programs to our processes, which are currently being developed and finalized to start training. Additionally, the data integration is phase 3, which is included in the automation of data, incorporated into our proposed agency-wide enterprise safety system. This automation of the SMS will maximize efficiency and minimize project disruptions while collecting safety statistics in real time. At C&D, we want to ensure that the labor force, our staff, and the public are provided with the best safety planning, the program implementation available while working in and using our system. That concludes my presentation, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions or comments from the board? Mr. Gorodnick.
Thank you. First of all, it's my first meeting. I think it's good to be here. Thank you for the hospitality, and it's good to be with you all. Just one question on, and it's slide 5, on the incident-based approach. I noted the overall number of contracts went from 387 to 466, going from December to January, and the number of incidents reported also went up. Can you just help me understand how to interpret what I'm looking at here? The numbers are more in line to what had been the case for most of 2023, but they also had dropped down toward the end of last year. If you could help me understand and put that in context, I would appreciate it.
Sure. So the projects that were trending down are the projects that were closing out and coming to a close while the new ones were being set up. As far as the trends you wanted to know, I'm sorry, because they were asking me a question.
So I want to know what we should explain, how we should explain the increase in numbers of incidents from the end of December to January, February, and March. It's a much higher percentage basis of the total number of contracts than it was in November and December, but it is also more in line with what had been reported previously. Just give me a sense of how to interpret that.
Sure. So the increase is really just an enhancement of what we've been working on with our contractors to notify near misses, general first aids, and even incidences that occurred near our projects. So during my presentation, I also stated that some of these incidents that were captured in the total were maybe not related to construction itself. However, the increase is just more of a notification of our contractors being more proactive and advising when situations are occurring on our sites. However, it doesn't, when you look at the actual lost time and recordables, we've still been trending at a low number rate, even with the increased number of volume that we've been having.
I'll also just jump in and good morning, everyone. Just to say that we don't have the slide in front of us, but I think we do. It's also a function of we get lower productivity from our contractors in November and December because of the holidays. So it's a combination of a critical thing that Ozzy is describing is we've used this safety management system to become much more vigilant about incident reporting and monitoring, and also, more importantly, maybe, to create these leading indicators that are not incident-based, that are looking ahead through our safety inspections and registering issues. But in terms of the incident reporting, I think it's a combination of increased reporting and also just a seasonal trend, which we'll see now that we have the safety management system in place and we're able to track this data year over year.
Any other questions? Mr. Herbst.
Yes, good morning. Just a question. One of the slides you show in the observational-based results of the contractors. There are numbers where you compare different contractors and the numbers. Is that based on I see the actual incidents, but is that also is it reflective of the size of the contract, or is it really just an indication of one contractor just not being diligent enough?
So the numbers that we're showing are not actual incidences. Those are actual observations that are tallied up from going to the site visits across their portfolio. So they're not actually incidences, but they're more finding negative observations that we want them to work on and to correct them before anything happens.
But is that based on the size of the contract when you compare one contract to another, the contractors?
So it's not based on the contracts, it's based on their total portfolio that's been awarded to them, but it's not specific to that.
But I think that Mr. Herbst's point is that the number of observations should be evaluated proportional to maybe the value and size of the work that they're doing. I think it's a relevant point. And one of the reasons that you're anonymized, this is anonymized, is the purpose is not to, cast any contractor in a poor light, but rather just to demonstrate how aggressive I think C&D is being about evaluating contractor safety performance through this system of, really inspections.
I think this is an excellent approach. I'm in favor of it. But I also just curious, do you see this playing in the future in looking at pre-qualifications of contractors?
The pre-qualification is part of the SMS program that we are introducing to track every contractor at the individual contract level of their program, of their process of safety, and will also be used during the award process as part of the qualifications.
Okay, thank you.
Good discussion on key issues. Anybody else? Okay, we're eating into our railroad time, so I'm going to ask other comments or questions. Random thoughts, Mr. Albert.
Under prevention metrics, leading indicators on page 17 of the safety book, I notice a huge discrepancy between the amount of the target goal for the amount of continuous welded rail to be installed and the amount that was actually installed. Is that due to a lack of personnel or GOs, or why would there be such a big discrepancy?
We can get back to you on exactly the reason for it.
Thank you.
Anything else folks want to raise before we move to adjournment? Okay. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Ms. Soren. Thank you for the second, Ms. Herbst. We're in adjournment. Thanks.